Hello, Amanda Newworth here. This came across my Telegram yesterday, I think it was, or this morning, and it's about Dan the Man down there in Victoria. And I really wanted to share it with you because I think we need to speculate and we need to figure out who these people really are and what's going on. So we've got Dan the Man. I found this little bit of bizzo in the news. And it's about Dan Andrews there. Yeah, there he is with his brace on. And we're all going, oh, poor Dan. Had a bad accident. But he's actually announcing, here's the date. The date is the 2nd of June here. Yeah, 2nd of June 2021. And it's all about him coming back after a nasty fall and breaking his spine. Not just his ribs, but his spine. Yeah, so here it is, March the 11th. This is again the Cairns News, and it's another whodunit from Cairns News. Have anybody seen the footage of the photos of good old Dan in the hospital bed? It appears that Mr. Andrews is telling a porky about how he was injured. His injuries are consistent with having been kicked while prone on the ground. Now, who would do that? Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews may need surgery after scans confirmed he fractured his spine during a fall. It's understood doctors will decide on Wednesday whether the 48-year-old will need surgery. After scans confirmed he has fractured the T7 vertebrae in the middle of his spine. He also broke several ribs. What it involves is this chap here. Now, I'm going to say that he's a bit of a champion, but he's a really big guy. He's Luke Sayer, and he was the former CEO of PricewaterhouseCoopers, so, and involved with the Carlton Football Club. So one of these men being men, pretty amazing. So what is it that I'm actually talking about? What I'm talking about is this. What popped up is that this Luke Sawyer, or this person, this is the bloke who bashed Andrews senseless. This chappie here, Luke Sayers, former CEO of Pricewaterhouse. Andrews got at his daughter's best friend at a function at Fox's house. That's why Andrews is in hiding at his mother's Mansfield farm. His wife has left him. Kids don't want a bar of him. It's going to explode in spite of the MMS, mainstream media, trying to conceal it. Looks like we are having an early election. So this is what popped up. And I went, ooh, wait a minute. Okay, what is going on here? So I had another quick look, and there was this article in the Cairns News. I found Cairns News to be fantastic. Okay, and it says Deadly Dan, who backed the China plan, could be in one of his Victorian courts. Now, this was in April 16, so it's not new, but it's news to me, so I like sharing things. So I'm going to read it to you. What's happened to Premier Dan Andrews after it was dutifully reported by Victoria's captive media that he fell down the stairs, broke his ribs at a mansion owned by transport magnate Lindsay Fox. His tweets, other than a photoshopped picture of him in a hospital bed and a happy Easter message, have disappeared into the ether. Being a Labor premier of a rogue Chinese state has its moments, and fighting off a virus, flu virus, and overseeing the deaths of more than 800 aged care residents across Melbourne occupied most of Dan's time. When he had the tantalising opportunity to visit Lynn Fox's luxury home at Portsea, fortuitously, the highway-hardened truck driver's son Andrew too was in lockdown at the seaside. Opposition MP Louise Staley attacked the Premier during parliamentary questioning time in January for hobnobbing with billionaire Lindsay Fox and cracking $10,000 bottles of wine, when one business in Melbourne alone lost $10,000 in one day due to the snap, as we know, lockdown. During question time, Ms Stanley asked flatly how many helicopter flights or other gifts the Premier had received from the Fox family. Mr Andrews said the only helicopter flights he'd taken recently were the bushfire-affected areas. In quotes, I met with many people about many different issues. I behave appropriately at all times. That is the oath that I swear. And if the conspiracy theorists opposite want to make a claim or allegation, go ahead and do it. According to The Age, there is no doubt that Andrews is a regular and welcome visitor to the Fox Den. The most recent occasion The Age is aware of is January 9, 2 days after Andrews returned to work from a short summer break. It was a Saturday night, and the Premier and his wife Catherine made the familiar drive from the Mulgrave home to the Fox's sprawling clifftop compound that overlooks Portsea Point King Beach. Seated around the table were Lindsay Fox and his wife Paula, and the Premier and his wife, tech entrepreneur Andrew Bassat, and Luke Sayers, a former PwC chief executive. The Fox family were also in lockdown in Portsea. Andrew Fox, the son of trucking magnate Lindsay, and his family were enjoying isolation at the family clifftop compound. His daughter Bella has shared videos on social media of the family partying on the tabletops in the midst of the pandemic. Ironically, the Mornington Peninsula, which includes Portsea, has recorded 36 cases of COVID, whereas the city of Melbourne has 32. Dan Andrews and Andrew Fox, one of 3 Fox sons who control parts of the family business across logistics, airports and property, are particularly fond of one another's company, with a shared passion for good red wines and fine whiskey. Through Fox and friends, like promotional guru Michael Gudinski, who passed recently, if you remember everyone, Eddie Maguire, the multimillionaire businessman Jerry Ryan, owner of Jayco Caravans, Andrews has gained entry into the seductive world of Melbourne's uber rich. So here's a picture, and the caption says, "Dancing during lockdown at the Lindsay Fox mansion overlooking Portsea Point." Posted by Bella, Andrew Fox's daughter. So the back up here, I'm just going to continue reading, there's not much to go. They spend a lot of time in one another's company taking shit and coming up with ideas that can bring their collective interests to bear, a Labor source says. Shortly before Christmas, staff who work for Andrew Fox and Ryan were treated to a nosh-up at Verdemont at one of Melbourne's priciest restaurants. In response to questions from The Age, Andrews declined to say who picked up the bill. Ryan, like Fox's, is an investor in Luxar's consultancy. Like Fox, he stands to benefit if the Andrews government backs new quarantine in Avalon. Scuttlebutt is a tightly controlled police state like Victoria eventually gets past the borders thanks to the communist dissenters who have evaded Zuckerberg's crackdown on fair commentary on Facebook. Some of the ardent, well-connected commentators claim to have knowledge of Dan Andrews not behaving appropriately while visiting Fox's Portsea residence, in spite of his earlier statements in Parliament. The Facebookers allege Andrews is fighting a rape charge in court under the radar naturally for the dalliance with one of Lindsay Fox's great-granddaughters, aged 17. In return, it is said to be prosecuting his assailants for bashing him senseless over the alleged rape. Who knows, after discovering the intrinsically connected Communist Chinese Party's belt and road involvement with Andrews and the Labor government that flew under the national radar for some time, added to persistent stories of dozens of Chinese aircraft night flying into Melbourne airports during the lockdown. Anything is possible in the Garden State. So there it's in print. Now, I came across a Facebook post, and I thank you guys. I've got you up here. Beautiful premieres. And this was yesterday. So that was the 6th of June 2021. And it reads, "Just had a Melbourne couple at my market stall. He is friends with Lindsay Fox's son. He is adamant that the rumours are 100% true. Luke says bash Dan to an inch of his life. Dan will not be back. His wife has left him. This was the businessman and his wife who showed me photos. The bashing occurred after a stairs accident, which was true, another dinner held to celebrate the Avalon contract, and a 10,000 bottle of wine was consumed. Dan touched up the girl and things went pear-shaped from there. Story is solid, is what he quoted confidently. So I'll leave it to all of you to do your own investigating and feel into that. I just had to share it with you. I love you all. Just so much love. Let's just change the way things are going. Let's get the truth out. Lots of love to you all.